So what was already an exciting weekend for Alabama fans as the Tide played host to some of the nation's top recruits as Alabama looks to repeat yet another stellar recruiting class under Kalen DeBoer. This weekend just got bigger because Alabama just made a hire on the coaching front that's sure to send shockwaves across college football as head coach Kalen DeBoer brings back a familiar face in Ryan Grubb. Today, we need to talk about it. We need to break it down. We need to talk about why I'm particularly excited for this hire and why I think you should be too. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I've got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited that Alabama's bringing in Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and welcome to the family. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And I'm sure he needs no introduction, but Ryan Grubb is someone who Kalen DeBoer has immense familiarity with. For those of you that remember, he was a part of that Washington offense that was fantastic, helping Michael Penix develop into the quarterback that we know him to be today. And that's first and foremost why I think I'm so excited. This is a guy in Ryan Grubb that not only knows what Kalen DeBoer wants to accomplish, but has been coaching for a while and has coached several different position groups. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's coached running backs, who's coached offensive line, who's coached wide receivers, and who has coached quarterbacks really, really well. And I think whenever you're talking about Alabama, that's going to be key going into this season. This season's interesting. You have a quarterback battle, and many fans are wondering who that guy's going to be. We're going to touch base on that here in a second, but I want to first talk about the offensive line. We talked about this all offseason, that Alabama was going to transition from what they were running under Saban to a pin-and-pull scheme where these offensive linemen were going to be asked to do a lot. What better way to help them than by getting in a guy in Ryan Grubb that not only knows this offense DeBoer wants to run, but has coached the offensive line position. And let me be very clear here. I think Coach Cap did a solid job this year. We have to look at it in terms of Alabama's offensive line has not produced in the manner that they should for quite some time. We fast forward to this past season, and Alabama's offensive line was better than they've been in a few years while transitioning to a new scheme. Now you have a guy that has coached offensive line that's going to be calling plays, who knows how to maximize the offensive line's potential within this offense, as well as the rest of the offense, from running backs to wide receivers to certainly quarterbacks. And that's where we'll transition to now. Because many fans have wondered who the quarterback for Alabama is going to be. And this certainly makes that question all the more intriguing, specifically for two reasons. First and foremost, Austin Mack came to Alabama from Washington with Coach Kalen DeBoer. And this was a guy that the Washington fan base, the Washington insiders, were really excited about. Now, it was always understood that Austin Mack was green. Remember, he skipped an entire year of high school, but they thought he was very talented. So Ryan Grubb already knows Austin Mack, but particularly we have to talk about the new guy on campus, Key Russ, because this is a guy that's a top 5 player pretty much well anywhere you look, and deservedly so. I've made no mystery of this. I think he should have been the #1 quarterback in the nation, certainly the #1 recruit in the nation. That's how good he is. You look at what he did at Duncanville, constantly dominating, and it speaks for itself. And you can say, well, he had a loaded cast around him. Sure, he did, but he made plays. He's really accurate. Whenever he got to Elite 11, he won that, and then he showed out at every single camp he went to when he had players he wasn't familiar with. So even when he didn't have that cast at Duncanville around him, he was still that guy. And furthermore, Alabama's talent rich. So he's going to be surrounded by talented players at Alabama. He knows how to maximize talent. But the reason why I turn your attention to Key Russ is, stylistically speaking, he fits not only what Sheridan wanted to do, certainly what DeBoer wants to do, and by extension, what Ryan Grubb wants to do. This is a guy that can run the football if need be, but really wants to tear you apart with his arm. And he has the tools to do so. So this quarterback battle got even more interesting, not to even speak about Ty Simpson, who also shares some of those same intangibles. Ty Simpson is sneaky mobile, where we've seen him take off before, and has got arm talent. So this quarterback battle already had Alabama fans everywhere captured. It just got more intriguing. It just got more interesting. And I, for one, Can't wait for spring ball to start so we can start getting in details. We can start figuring out who will the guy be. Now, I do want to temper expectations. I don't necessarily think that this quarterback battle will be solved in the spring. And if it is, that's awesome. That's great news. But personally, I think this battle could go into fall, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think if you're Kalen DeBoer, you like the options you have at your disposal. The question remains, though, what does this mean for Nick Sheridan? And make no mistake, I think Nick Sheridan, for the complaints I had about him this past season, is going to be a really good offensive coordinator, but he's young. He's inexperienced. Ryan Grubb is not inexperienced. Ryan Grubb not only knows Kalen DeBoer very well, they're very good friends, but Ryan Grubb has called plays, not only at the collegiate level, now in the NFL. This is an exciting move. And I'm really interested to see what this means for recruiting going forward, because Nick Sheridan was on the recruiting trail. But if you're an offensive player and now you have the ability to play for Ryan Grubb and you got to watch Washington for the few years he was there, you know what a high-powered offense he had whenever he was partnered with Kalen DeBoer. And now you look at the quarterbacks Alabama has, I don't think there's a shortage of talent there. I have always maintained that whether it's Ty Simpson, whether it's Austin Mack, or whether Key Russ comes in there and wins the job, you don't have bad options. And you certainly don't have bad options at the wide receiver position. You have guys such as Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Jalen Hale coming back from injury, not to mention a guy like Rico Scott, Latsier Brooks coming in. There's talented pieces there. And I started this video off talking about the offensive line because I think this is a key hire for that position group in particular. As excited as I am about Ryan Grubb coming back and what he means for the offense as a whole, I'm really excited about what this means for the offensive line. Because Coach Cap already started doing a really, really good job with this offensive line. But now, if Coach Cap remains, you marry what Ryan Grubb wants to do with Coach Cap, I think that's going to be a winning recipe. But there are still questions that remain. What those answers are, I don't particularly know. But I know if you're an Alabama fan, you have got to feel good about this move, what it means for the offense, what it means for the outlook, and what it means for all the talented pieces on this team. Spring ball just got all the more intriguing. A-Day just got all the more intriguing. And I, for one, I'm here for it. But I'm really here to hear what you have to say. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you think about this move. Are you excited? What questions do you have? And now, what position group are you most looking forward to? I think the unanimous answer is going to be quarterback. And I certainly don't blame anybody for saying that. I'd be lying if I was saying that wasn't something I was very excited about. But I'm also really excited about what this means for the offensive line, especially as it's going to be year 2 into a kind of newish scheme still for some of these guys. And the reason why I say that is because you went from one side of the spectrum to the other, with what Nick Saban was running on the offensive line to what Kalen DeBoer is running on the offensive line. Having Ryan Grubb back, a guy that has coached quarterbacks, has coached wide receivers, has coached running backs, but has coached offensive line, I think this is going to be a really fun season, and I can't wait to hear from you. That's it. See ya.